And this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it?
What's up, guys? Masta Styles here, bringing another episode in the Let's Play Eternal Evolution series. And if you're loving the video in the beginning, make sure you hit that like button and of course subscribe to the channel. So the collab event continues. They have a new update, new heroes. We're gonna do some summons, but first here we want to go check into the store to see if they made an update to the store, which they didn't. Very unfortunate there. So priority number one is picking up these soul memory cards because we're gonna need that for the summons. I am looking at Batuo here because at the end of the day, these purple cards are gonna eventually be converted into diamonds, so you want to end up using them anyways. And I am gonna pick up that key that's needed for the trophy room. But let's go straight to the summons here. Of course, you know, we gotta go in, get our free summon. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. And going into the summon, I'm hoping I can pick up the support. Obviously, I'll take the tank because, you know, again, I do need another frontliner. Teresh is great, but at the same time, his throwing ability kind of throws off the whole dynamic because now you have to think about who he's going to throw. As you can see, we're at 30 there, no luck. So that means that you're only going to get a copy on pity. So let's go straight to it. Hopefully, wish me luck here. And again, I can't tell which one it is. If you can, please comment down below. And let's see here. You will have to wait all the way through here. I'm not going to skip it. I talked about this in the other video I just made. And we get the tank. So now I need to figure out how I'm going to get the support character because I'm going to need her. I don't have Miranda, and my Masrani is low level. So these are the things you want to think about whenever you're doing your summons. How are these characters going to help you progress your account? Because when you're new to the game, that is the main thing you want to focus on. How can you progress further and deeper into the game? That would have been nice if that was both triple S's, but again, all this purple and nothing to show for it, you know. A lot of elites, but no triple S. So here I am gonna pick up this gene hybrid here eventually, but I was also thinking that if I pick up that gene hybrid, I always talk about that, I might miss out on the support hero. The other strategy would be to get up to 180 so I can pick up that selector, but chances are I'm not going to because this is a free to play account, so I'm not gonna get too many limited tickets or those soul memory tickets, which is, you know, it's gonna be hard to come by. There is a new boss since the last time I made an episode, and of course running the same team, I am gonna add the new tank into the mix. I am gonna do gameplay of a full chapter of Twilight Lands because I wanted to show you why I invested in the characters that I did, because I knew the value that they will provide. So here I'm running Teresh, Leo, and this is kind of the old team that I was using. I stopped using this team because, again, you know, if you're a new player, obviously Leo will help you, but once you get past a certain point in the game, Leo tends to be too squishy, but Teresh is still my front liner, and you'll see that later on in the gameplay. But I was just doing that there so I can get a spin at Gamuzo's bell. And here they have Elite Chapter, but I'm not gonna pick up Emma. I'm passing on Emma again because I know that down the road you're gonna need other hunter heroes. She's strong, don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna pass on her because I'm gonna need to pick up those limited tickets because, again, I'm trying to get that support. So here, if I could have gotten, you know, maybe the dominated nucleus or that extra gene hybrid, obviously I'll take a copy of Daniel, but that's neither here nor there. But let's go into the Twilight Lands a little bit. As you can see, I'm gonna get another 20 here, so I am gonna do more summons. So this is great. We already started out at chapter 5. I wish I would tell you what chapter it is, because in the beginning it doesn't really say it, but it's chapter 5, and it's pretty good that we already skipped over a couple of chapters. We don't have to go and redo from the very beginning. So if you're new to the game, that's kind of how Twilight Lands work. The deeper you go into Twilight Lands, you don't have to worry about going from the very start. they kind of progress you from a set point. So you want to make sure you go further and further into the game. So here we go. Again, I don't know which one it is. I have no idea. I don't like that. They could use my video from the beginning for the tank one, you know, it's better than what they got. But again, we picked up the tank, which is great, another copy. Wished it was the support there. But again, remember, I could still pick her up from the shop. So I'm not really stressing it. It's okay. That's all good. So I will check to see if I have enough chips just to pick up that Gene Hybrid, which I don't. And as you can see, I'm out of tickets. I did get another 10 Astro recruitment cards. I am going to hold on to these because I know eventually they're going to come out with a new Triple S hero. I'm trying to stack them up because also the other thing is that the 1-year anniversary is coming up soon. So keep that in mind when you're doing these summons, because again, you're going to need a lot of summons during that main event. So here I'm going to start evolving the new tank. And this is one thing I want to note for the newer players. Just focus on the heroes you got. Don't worry too much about what other people have, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure you build out heroes that are going to progress your account faster. Yes, you can throw money at the game. I'm not telling you if you should or you shouldn't. That's not my place. That's up to you. But if you're going to watch my content, I just want you to focus on account progression in the beginning. And for me, I've come to realize that I have been ignoring my elites, but for you, you might want to focus on them, because again, this series is covering how far can you progress without spending money, or you know, getting to a level where you can compete with the whales or the sharks or whatever you want to call them. But for me, I just want to continue to do that. So now we're going to jump right into Twilight Lands. Let's break this team down, who does what and why I pick who I did. So here I have Senway. Senway is in the main focal point. I'm actually going to eventually have to switch him out because it's going to get to a point where the damage is coming in too fast and I need to heal. So as we go through this, I tend to focus on the easier bond here. It's early, so I can still do the energy bond, which here I'm throwing MK. I don't really need to throw MK, but then again, remember, I have to throw somebody because of Teresh, so I would rather pick MK than throwing Daniel or, you know, Senway or Sif, because it wouldn't make any sense because they'll end up dying. But here we still got Gobo. This is why I love Sith. I'm telling you, I talked about Sif. Sif brings so much to the game. I can't even express how much she's a game changer she is. But MK here is very amazing too, because she does a lot of damage. So my main damage dealer are Sif and MK. And this is why I say you needed to pick up MK, and you definitely needed to make sure you get you Sif. So this one here is very tough, because what ended up happening is that when the boss splits apart, it starts to target multiple people versus, you know, they'll be focusing on Teresh or Gobo in the beginning, because the damage that these little things do, it's very fast. They attack fast, but this is the lower level, so it's not as bad. Still, I don't need a healer yet, but eventually, like I said, I am gonna pull out Serena, and there are moments where I end up using Fiona, because again, I have MK, which does the movement skills, and I think I added somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But here we're going Summoner, because again, it's the easier one. You want to make sure you always pick the ones that you can beat. There's no point in trying to overdo it, because what's the point? The point is to progress. And here, easy, because these are the lower levels. So this one for me isn't really much of a challenge, because later on, and I'll show you how far we progress. So here again, I'm gonna go Summoner because it's just easy. And you know, you want to make sure you build out your heroes, and this is why I invested so much into Sif. And also, I am doing some investment into Teresh. I brought him to Mythic 2, which is great, because you know, now he can actually soak up some of that damage up front. And these energy ones are very tough, even for my main account, because again, I don't have Nord. I don't know why they haven't brought him back. And you know, Jaina's cool, but at the same time, my Jaina isn't top tier Jaina. So energy bond, I tend to struggle. And one thing I want you to know is that MK here, Amatoko, she is the equivalent of Dominic for newer players because Dom hasn't been around for about a month. This one, I'm actually going to pass on the energy bond to try out the hunter bond because I wanted to see how MK handles the shields, and she did amazing. So Teresh is definitely helping, and the good thing about throwing MK is that Teresh actually runs to the middle to throw her, so he's in the center and he does a lot of AoE damage. And of course Gobo's right there doing AoE damage because my Sif is at EX 30. So here, summoner, and again, very simple, same thing. I'm thinking about moving on now because I'm now progressing, so you want to pull out the healer here because we're taking a little bit of damage and we weren't healing. So here, pretty much the same thing, ult all over, and I'll wait because the one thing about Teresh's throw, you want to make sure that you don't do your ult when he's throwing you because it interrupts the whole ult. And pretty much very easy, one right there. And of course we're going to move on to the boss. The boss itself, I don't really care about the bonds, but a good thing about, even if you're struggling with these birds that are up front, if you have Sif, you can pretty much summon Gobo in front of them to the right of them, and then they'll target Gobo so the wind won't kill off your heroes. And they do a lot of damage, especially at the stage where you have all three of them. But this one is fairly easy. And as you can see, the way that I created my team was pretty much high damage dealing and a little bit of support. So the episode's over. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for showing love. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, like, so we can send it out into the algorithm and more people can get help and progress in their account. So without further ado, I want to thank you for watching. Until the next episode, peace.